like meaning like they didn't understand. They couldn't see me for who I am. They didn't understand my heart. Like they couldn't see me. So I know what it's like to be invisible. You can be standing right there in front of people and talking to people, interacting with people, loving people, and they cannot see you or accept you, and they certainly may not even see you as a child of God or a woman of God, etc.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this fellowship. Thank you for everybody that was able to make it out tonight and the people watching online. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless the discussion that we have. Um, Bless it to be productive and enlightening for us all. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask also that your will be done. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
To remember where I was because the instruments sometimes it got really performative for me, and I just can't do that. That was another takeaway. Like I said, I would have appreciated hearing more men speak, especially in regards to the general sessions. Because in my breakout sessions, I had more men than women. I think I only had one woman spoke in one of them. But in the general sessions, I would have appreciated for all of the speakers, not to be more diverse in that aspect, for sure. But other than that, I thought it was amazing. I learned a lot. I haven't started that. What is it? The 12-day devotional, but I plan to. Like I intend to. I was trying to grab some over there. The devotional. Did you grab one on the way out? Yes. Like I intend to do that. I haven't started. I meant to start Sunday. Um, when we, but honestly, when and me and Cree walked out a little bit earlier before they actually closed it out. But even then, like there weren't a lot left. There weren't any. Right.
Is that one?
They might
Do
have
you
them
have
online
the
because all the other stuff was online. So I don't see why this wouldn't be online.
What sessions did everybody do, and like, what are things that you took away from those? Are we whoever? I'll pass the mic.
I can start. Friday night, I did the parental wounds, healing parental wounds. Um, and then Saturday morning, I felt like both of those kind of correlated or they went together. It was talking about getting to forgiveness. So, like I said, I personally was able to take a lot from that because I realized I'm angry about some things that I have to move past. So it gave me, I guess, a pathway to forgiveness and how to operate within forgiveness. And I realized some things I'm just gonna have to let go of. Um, and then the last one, I really liked that one was the theological approach to dating. I liked a lot of Dr. Conway's takeaways because he didn't just speak to the women; he also spoke to the men. Um, and he is a man, and he's a married man, and has been married for a very long time. And I think sometimes some things can be just generalized in regards to dating, like men should be this and women should be this. And I like that he generalized a lot of that stuff. That it wasn't like, oh well, this one-off person, it wasn't the exception to the rule. It's like, no, these are the rules. Period. Um, but yeah, that was really good. That might have been one of my favorite ones actually, outside of like the general sessions that they had. I think a lot of us are in that one, the theological approach, for sure. That was a good one. Your turn.
Nice. I went on Friday night. My session was called Friends Gone Wild When Friendship Crosses the Line. And it was just that. Uh, and we jumped right in. He proposed a question from the get-go, and it was basically saying, is it wise for a man and a woman to be best friends? Current situation. And so it was a lot of back and forth on it. I would say the majority said no. The majority said no. And then I raised my hand. I agreed with what they were saying. My only caveat to it was I was saying sometimes you can get a different perspective from a man, which I like. Yes, yes. And so the speakers were not saying they were not saying that you can't be friends. It was more so being careful, being so close. So they kept saying one big thing you need to do is define the relationship. DTR. You need to DTR every relationship. And one of the things in here I like in the pamphlet they gave out is it's easy to tell yourself, we're just close friends, nothing inappropriate has technically happened, and I can handle this. Listen, I can't handle it all the time. I'm just going to I can't handle it all the time. But I think oftentimes we like to, I don't know, make excuses or, it's just my friend, like it really ain't nothing. No. It doesn't always work out. But he said sometimes you have people in your life, and this can go for any kind of friend, people that feed you, lead you, or need you. And so it's true when you have people for seasons, and you need to know and realize sometimes when you need to let some people go and just move on about your business. And then he proposed the question, is our faith stronger than the temptation? And that was one that, yeah, that one took me out. And I was like, ooh, it should be. Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? Ooh, that's different.
That's not.
I'm
That
sorry,
sounds so
everybody,
loud.
if you didn't hear me. But the last question I said, is our faith stronger than the temptation? And that's the area, yes. That was a good question proposed. Yeah, that's a good question. And most times, yeah, but there are times when I know sometimes we can put ourselves in situations, and that's what he kept saying. Don't put yourself in a situation if you know you can't handle it. Like, really, do you need to go hang out at 11 p.m.? I mean, no, I don't. Do I want to? Sure. But no, it's probably not wise. So it open spaces, yes. Should you be out, drinking and you're going to be feeling one time? No, it's probably not wise. You probably shouldn't be drinking either, sorry. But, And then another thing, sorry, it was a lot of good takeaways from this one. It's our actions and not our intentions that oftentimes get us in trouble. No, it's not our intention to go out and do this, but them actions, they happen for sure. And so one thing he had, an acronym he used was HALT. HALT. And H is for hungry or horny. Oh, he wouldn't say that, but H is for hungry or horny. A is for angry. L is for lonely. T is for tired. Those are times when the enemy strikes. So HALT. When you're hungry, horny, angry, lonely, or tired. But he hit on a lot of great points on ways to keep your friendships intact and not getting caught up, basically.
to on Friday night was how to know for sure that you're ready to be married. And it was overflowed, and so they didn't have any pamphlets. But was it you? Yeah, you gave me one to copy later. But when I got in there, he was just asking. They were just having people ask questions. Which, so I don't know. Did they present the pamphlet, or did they? So do you want to then? Because
All right. So I took this was my first class for Friday, and it was facilitated by two couples who met there, and what their journey was like when they were single, and then when they actually got married. Um, and the takeaway from it is that you just need to follow God, just follow Him and just serve. Because one of the examples was that in serving, you are learning about your relationship with God, and once you, it's like once you are serving and fulfilling your relationship with God, it's like a lot of things kind of fall away, and it leaves room to invite the right things into your life. So I was like, interesting. And so one of the big things that that they talked about was the pyramid. So we ended up getting a what do you call it? Thank you. We got a Rubik's cube with these things, these words on it, and I believe there are scriptures on there as well. And this is the ideal or the way that you should go about if you're seeking to be married, is the way that you should go about it. You should always seek God first, who is your master. Understand what your mission is in Him, your moods, and then your mate will come. And he was like, what often happens is that we go backwards. We want to find the mate, and then we feel that some people believe that once you find your mate, it'll change your mood. It'll change how you feel about things, or certain things will just fall into place, or whatever. Then you'll understand your mission, what I'm supposed to do, my purpose in Christ, or whatever, and then you can both focus on the Lord. And yeah, that's not, because somewhere down here you're gonna be focused on the individual and forget all about this. You're not even gonna come to your mission, and you're just gonna be all over the place with your moods. So it's best to follow that paradigm of seeking God first, because our identity is in Him, because we're supposed to die to our carnality, right? To who we were born as, because once we got baptized, we have been reborn, right? So we are a new individual, so we have to have a new way of thinking, a new approach, all that, because our carnality and spiritual life can't really mix, but we like to try. It doesn't necessarily work. But I was like, oh, okay, well, I said, well, I'm going in the right direction. Because one couple brought up, you can't get tired. And I think that goes along with what you were talking about, even though it's in your friendships, but it still applies. Like, you can't get tired and then get in God's business. like, um, like staying in alignment with God. Like, okay, I'm going to skip a couple of steps, and I'm going to jump on Hinge, or I'm going to jump on this, or I'm going to go, listen, or I'm going to call this. What you do? You can't, you have to stay the course. You have to stay, because we get weary in it, we get impatient in it, and that was the other part. I think we found that out in, it was still this one, because we talked about the fruit of the Spirit. And I'm like, that's how you can work on you and see if you embody the fruit of the Spirit. And I was like, okay, well, I'm missing a couple. I'm missing a couple. I am. It's some I can happily check off, and others I cannot, because my patience is I'm so sorry. I learned this weekend. I'm very impatient. I'm like, I'm sorry, Lord. So let me be humble in my waiting, And then I think what pushed that, because when you have your parents, Lord have mercy. I wish I could have went to her class because I didn't go to the one they put me into. You know, you have the pressures of your mom. It's like you ain't getting any younger. You ain't, you know. And I need my grandbabies to bounce on my knee. And I'm like, wait a minute. You know, I'm like, look here. And so it's like you keep that with you, and I think for me, I'll say, is what kind of pushed me out of my alignment because I'm trying to please you, you know, instead of pleasing God. And I'm like, I can't do that because I'm doing stuff you want me to do, not you. You didn't do, you're not my mom. You know, I'm doing stuff my mom wants me to do, dating the person that she wants me to date, and I'm like, no, I'm not happy, and I'm like, my spirit is all over the place, and I'm like, I don't like this, so I had to learn how to set myself free from one, and walk in what's true to me and the journey or the path that God has me on. Because what I was on, it wasn't it. Um, uh, but yeah, I really, that was my biggest takeaway from this. I was like, this is what the paradigm should look like. I'm like, yes. I'm like, okay, so I really enjoyed that. Let's see. A couple of questions. For marital readiness, to some of the questions. If you guys wanted to write some down or to think about them, or we can talk about them. So one of the questions is, do you have a reverence for Christ? And the scripture they put with that was Ephesians 5:21, and it said, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. So do you have a thirst or reverence or respect for Christ? Another question for marital readiness is, are you mature enough? And I was like, ooh, am I? I was like, that one kind of resonated with me too. Matthew 19:11, it says, but Jesus said, not everyone is mature enough to live a married life. It requires a certain aptitude and grace. Marriage isn't for everyone. So I was like, ooh, I'm like, all right. Huh? But, mm-hmm. That's why 2 Timothy 2:15 is in place. Mm-hmm. Take it. You do have to take it with a grain of salt. You take the meat and leave the bone for sure. Yeah, like you can't hold on to every word. Because like I say, that's why 2 Timothy 2:15 is in place, because you do have to study to show thyself approved. Is your definition of love shaped by the Bible? Are you modeling that love in your relationships currently? And the scripture they put with that was 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. Which it has it on here. It says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrong. And then there's 3 more questions on here, and they are you harboring unforgiveness in your singleness? Are you developing your capacity to forgive? And I was like, ooh, I was like, all right. And the scripture reference for that was Matthew 18:21-22. The other question is, how do you treat or honor the people who don't treat you well? I said, my God, today. uh, Matthew 5:43-44. Because I'm like, do you honor them? Like anybody has a takeaway from that one? Or just a comment on that one? How do you treat or honor the people who don't treat you well? And hey.
I have learned that you can't let other people's define you. So if people don't treat you well, you don't have to hold on to that. You don't have to be that, you know. You can let that go and you can go on and exist and do and be the kind of person you want to be. When you're around them, you treat them amicably, you know, just like you would any stranger. I had to put it that way, if that's what you have to do. Or you stay out of their path. I mean, you don't go out of your way to be out of their path, but you don't go up in their face. You know, you're not trying every minute to get, oh, like me, like me, like me. Um, and you can uh, be yourself wherever they are without having to worry about whether they are accepting you. That's something you have to learn to do. Just in my life, there have been people that I've had to not only forgive, but had to learn to not let them hurt me anymore. And to do that is you can be around them, you can do things for them, you can do things with them, but not let how they feel about you or treat you hurt you. And that takes time and practice, but you can do it, and you have to, because that's how you learn. So that can be family members, that can be on the job, that can be church members, you know. But we have to learn how to do that.
I just wanted to piggyback on what she was saying about people not treating you well and how to treat them. Brother Ross and I just had this conversation the other day. I was sharing with him someone that's very close to me that just every now and then just wigs out and goes ballistic, and it's not even personal, even though it feels very personal. It's directed directly at me, all about me, all. And when the first time, I'm gonna say the first time it happened, but this one particular time that it happened, about I guess 6 months ago, it really broke me down. Like, I literally felt like I had to grieve the loss of a person that's still alive, you know. But the relationship, and someone told me, kind of to your point about the DTR, or defining the relationship, that I had to redefine relationship in reality, because what culture says this relationship should be, it is not. And I had to get a firm grasp on that. And then the other thing was, I was telling Brother Ross that, I've went through, like, y'all, I had to go to therapy, pray, that, I mean, like, I went through a whole process. When I tell you I was broken, I was broken, because this person's very important to me. But I grew a lot from that, and as she mentioned, I'm still able to do things for this person. This person still depends on me. Um, talk to this person, and it's not that I'm ignoring or acting like anything hasn't happened. It's just that this person showed me who they really are, or it was revealed, and I believe them, and I'm just proceeding accordingly. And then the other thing is, Brother Ross asked me, or actually what happened was, this incident, this outburst, this outlashing happened again a few weeks ago. And when it happened, and fast forward, it didn't impact me the same as it did the last time. And Brother Ross asked me this past Sunday when I was telling him about it. I told him, I told him, he said, "Did you have your armor on?" And I said, "Yes," because I have been doing so much work, you know. And so went all, I mean, it didn't go through me. It went, all around me. Yeah, it was like I was shielded from it, even though it happened. And, I mean, I'm not acting like nothing happened or like I don't feel anything, but it's not like it was before. So, yeah, people not going to treat you right. They treat Jesus right. And they did not honor him. They couldn't even see him. You know, like we were talking about being invisible. They couldn't even see him. He was standing right there. He was doing all these miracles and things, and prophesied about him and everything, and they couldn't see him. So who am I?
Um, Another one I went to was um, watch the flags, the red flags, and again, this was the minister did the class Conway, but he did not. They start out by asking people if they have questions, which I think is not. How are you going to have questions when you haven't heard the thing? So he was starting. I guess he was like having people ask questions until it got full, but he never got around to this, to his lesson. He just answered their questions. So one side is saying how you can know if you're in a thriving relationship. The other side is red flags or flaws. So I was kind of disappointed in those kind of classes because you're not really getting information. You're only getting what someone else is asking. And, like like I would say 5 of the questions that were answered, he had the same answer. Time. It takes time. It takes time. You take time to get to know somebody, but you didn't get information. So, but I have this. If anybody wants it, they can get a copy of it. I think it's in the second. The other one was self-care and self-love, which I thought this should have been taught by a more mature person. It was a young person who did it, young male. Not saying he did anything wrong, but it just has the phrases of the world and then the truths of the Bible and then takeaways, which he just had everybody read the phrases of the world and then the truths of the Bible, and then you pick one of the truths of the Bible that you think matches or contradicts the phrase of the world. And then he just asked questions again, people didn't ask questions. So, I mean, you can all take a picture of that too, but it wasn't, I was going in there to see what kind of things they were going to say about how you can have self-care and self-love, which you didn't really get from that. But some good takeaways or, phrases, you can match up yourself. And what was I going to say? And then I got this pamphlet from the financial one, since I'm already getting ready to retire for the last time, Yes, I'm already retired from 2 jobs, and now I'm retiring from this school job, and I don't, yeah. But I mean, I already got, the basis of this. I mean, if I haven't saved any money right now, which I haven't, I'm not going to. But it's good things to learn. I think the main thing I took away from all of this was there is truth in everything, and there's a lot of good information. You just have to be able to discern and be able to find the truth that's in God's word, that it matches what they're saying. Because some things, generalize things, yeah, but some things were a little, didn't quite go with that, And then there's also a lot, like what do they consider service? That's what I would like to know. What do you consider service? Because there's a lot of busy work. And we can always be doing a lot of busy work, but that doesn't mean we're serving. So what is service? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you in this ministry just to be seen? Is this the calling that God has for you? Were you in prayer before you entered into this ministry? Because this ministry might not even be of service to you. You're just in it because Nini's in it, somebody, and I just want to be where Nini is, so because like we're awesome and like I just want to do everything in return. Like no, like that's great, you know, that you may have that bond with someone, but it's like it's still for God, and we still have to keep that at the forefront because He has to be in every area of our lives. So, um, mm-hmm. It is. Look at now you know I love you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. I definitely I enjoy every bit of it because I always need to sit with me and check me to make sure I'm in good step before I can think about anything. And then Patrice, I love her if you watching. Shout out. Um, you know, had to because she's like, girl, you overthink everything. Like you're fine. Like relax. You know, so I'm like, I still have to get out that perfectionist mode. Like it's okay. Like you're okay. You're gonna mess up, which I know that. You know, I'm like you're human, but it's like I don't want to rely on that either. You know, I'm like, but it becomes cliche, and then it also it can put you in a place to justify wrongdoing. Like, no, this is wrong, and I sinned against God, and I have to acknowledge that and correct it. You know, so I'm like, I don't ever want to, you know, get in that position. You know, but you know, everything that I went through, I was like, resonated with me. I definitely needed it. Oh, it was one. Another class was the Kingdom Hustle one. If you were starting a business, and so the Kingdom Hustle part, it had four phases. It was pray, perspective, plan, and partner. And then the other part is goal, which is the acronym for gather, organize, ask for support, and leverage. And I was like, oh, okay, I missed some of these steps. I did. I was like, thank you. Because I kind of jumped in with my business. And so the biggest one for me was phase three. I didn't plan it, I didn't know. And, you know, and so there are some things I need to fill in the gaps for said business, but because I want to just close it up all together. I'm like, no, we can fill in the gaps and work that out. But yeah, and so it was really great. I wish I could have talked to the other guy that was there, because he was just full on entrepreneur. Because and the one thing he said that I can appreciate was a lot of people believe you have to have a PhD to do this and this and this. It has to look very formal and pretty, and it doesn't. He was like, I don't have a PhD like her. You know, he's like, I have keys to help streets. He's like, that's what I know. You know, yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's like, that's my PhD. He's like, I get in, get it done. I see what the problem is, find a solution, and market it. And he's like, and we're standing here, we're both successful. You know, so I was like, thank you for that, because I was like, I didn't have any of that. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's exactly where he's coming from. But she is very put together. She has all these things. She's very organized. That other lady.
Because he saw it, yes. Like he saw his gift. Like he is given almost like by birth. He thinks he has the ability to be able to do his career.
covering or whatever, but having people to yeah, mentor or to run things by or counsel, yeah. And I think that was important, especially for younger people to know. Some people we may not be where that is, but we've been through stuff, and so we know things. Not gonna always go around and just blab it out, but if you ask or want to know, I can tell you. So I think it's a good idea to run things by people, especially when you're contemplating, is this a good person? Is this the thing to do or whatever? Run it by people because you can't see what's yeah, blind spots. And you can't see why you're in the midst of it and you've got all your emotions out there. You can't see that. Don't bother with him. He ain't no good. I can tell right now the way he talks to you. This, that, and other. And so I think it's a good idea just to have the person you're interested in be around other people and then get feedback from other people.
He asked her out. He was like, who should I, he didn't even mention like who he was interested in. He just asked who, and they all came back from her. So I thought that was rather interesting, because if they're friends, they brought up the what was it, feather to feather, it's like so it's like, hey, we're gonna all assist in our circle because you should know, about the people. I thought that was
Pastor Darius, the one that just mic drop, just showed out at the very end. Oh man, that sermon on Samuel and Delilah, I will never forget. But he talked about how Samuel did not realize that God was not with him. Whoa, and then he also talked about how, what was it? Oh, he was talking about like Samuel had a type, and I have type. I do. And then, so that resonated with me, but also Samuel, Samson and Delilah. Sorry, thank you. I'm saying Samuel. Sorry, y'all. Samson and Delilah. Samson had a type. But also, he talked about how the women issues that he had, how he met the Philistine women, when he was in a place of bondage or like in a valley in his life. So it made me think of, I was like, when I was thinking about that analogy, I'm like, okay, you got the valley, you have the mountaintop. I'm not in a valley, but I'm not at the mountaintop. I'm like past the base of the yes. But I was like, do I want to involve myself with someone or attract someone at this point in time, because the way I think and the things that I want to accomplish are more like, I'm not going to say mountaintop type, but just because of the experiences that I've had. He talked about trying to build with someone that you met when you were in a valley, and I'm just like, man, it just really made me think. And again, going back to your pyramid, just knowing more, knowing God more, knowing about myself, it makes me want to wait longer. Like, but then I've been thinking about everybody that I know that's married, and I'm like, God, were they perfect? Were they this or that when they met? Because they have married well, and I'm like, do I gotta be perfect before I meet somebody? So those are just thoughts that I have. You know. Mm-hmm.
find myself having that same thought sometimes. Like, was everybody on the right path before they? And they couldn't have been. My mama, they couldn't have been. Like, you know, like you just, because I think of who they were at 30 and who they are at 40 and 50. You couldn't have been perfect, but I also just have to realize, like, that's just not your story. Like, I literally said that to myself sitting there, like, that's not your story. I don't know what your story gonna say, but that's not your story. My mother was married and done having kids by my age. We'll be sitting there talking, having conversation. I'm like, girl, you have no idea. You had a man. Like, you weren't paying all these bills by, like, you were not. Somebody was there. So, somebody, you had a kid to go get a remote. Like, I'm sick in the house, it's just me. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm sick in the house, just I can't move. I can't take myself to the doctor. Like, so I have to remember, like, your story is yours and that's their business. Sometimes you just gotta look, you can't stray over there. Because it'll have you, like, in a loop. It'll really have you in your head thinking. And I do just, if I'm gonna believe that he gave me this desire for a reason, I can't sit there and question it and wait on it. And even though it's hard, it's easier said than done. But in the meantime, I have all of these other things to work on. In the meantime, I have so much more to do. And then I think of because I also do think of my friends that married young and my family members that married young. And like, I genuinely couldn't imagine being married at 24 years old. Like, I don't have a house. Where the baby gonna play? My baby like a yard. Like, I just think of those things too, and like preparing to make those steps so when my time does come, I'm ready. I don't think that any of us will ever be perfect, but that the person that's perfect for you will come along. And because I've said this to my brother before, like, you might be walking towards, fighting towards, working on a certain thing that you're not even supposed to accomplish by yourself. That person's gonna come and help you to get there. Like, you sitting there trying to get it done, and actually, if you just look to your left, she's right. Like, literally, you're helping. Literally that. You're just not supposed to get everywhere by yourself. So.
It circles back to a question that the first speaker on Friday night in the general session, she made a statement or a question basically saying, are you allowing God to be in your boat? And so it hit home, and it's like, are you really allowing God to be God? Are you allowing him to be what he said he was going to do? He said, I got you. Now we're going to let him go. Even in situations like that. Like, yeah, I'm out here in this singleness, struggling. Am I going to detour and try to do these things on my own? Baby, because I be scrolling sometimes. Yes, with nobody. Knowing good and well I don't want to date you. But yeah, are we allowing God to take over and lead us in the direction that he wants us to be? Are we trying to take control of the boat? Because I know for me, sometimes you get a little frustrated. Yeah, I'm all in God's business. And it's like, I just need to slow down, step back, and let him lead. Which is hard sometimes.
Courtney just triggered a thought, and you talked about God giving me the desire. I know God gave me the desire. And then remember they were talking about idolizing marriage. And I know that I have, because I know that God gave me the desire. I wanted to be a mom and be married since, like, just remembering, like, I knew I wanted that, like, at age 5. Other than that, being a singer. Those two things I really wanted. And but then I'm thinking, like, okay, if God gave me the desire, but I know all of the things that I have done to be married to have these relationships that just have not worked out. And I'm like, man, am I idolizing it? And then on top of that, I definitely haven't been waiting for him. But then I thought about Joseph in the Bible, how God showed him this vision or told him, what his future was going to be. And he went and run tell that. He told everybody, But it didn't happen for like decades later. And he went through a lot to get there. And he evolved. And I just, it made me think about this desire and just waiting for God.
I feel like I'm in my, what you call it, Elijah season, because everything you you can identify God in every situation. You can, especially if you're looking for Him, right? So I think I shared this with you um, about being in my Elijah season, how he went because Jezebel was trying to kill him. He went and hid in the cave and things of that nature, and he sent an angel, to give him food because it's like, hey, you need to move. You can't stay here. This is not a place for you to stay. And so he left, and God gave him a destination. He was at the tip of that mountain, and in the midst of that, he witnessed a storm, a fire, and an earthquake. I probably would have stayed during the storm, but a fire and an earthquake, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna stay right here, right? And I'm like, that's kind of our life situations or whatever. We are facing these elements, and it's like, but the Lord gave me instruction. And so, again, my impatience, I wear it with a hat, okay? So that's one of my fruit I need to work on. My fruit is still Jesus help. Okay? Because, man, I'm impatient. So that's why I'm like, I would leave. And look, see, by him waiting, he got to hear that soft whisper. He got to hear it. And once he did move. So I'm like, the Lord will tell you when to move. He'll tell you when to stay. He'll tell you everything. You just got to wait. And that's my struggle. I feel like that's where I am. I probably missed a lot of things because I didn't. Because I didn't stand still to hear from him, to make sure it's him. Because, the devil like to play dress up and make it sound right, because he knows scripture too. So you got to be aware of that. And we've all experienced that too. Our past, maybe trying to date again or whatever. And how people will use, the word to make it seem like this is what this is. So that's my takeaway from that in the waiting and the impatience and trying to be patient. Just wait on God, because he does have our best interest at heart. He doesn't want anybody to be miserable or unhappy. So I did appreciate when, I think it was Brother Conway said, you are responsible for your happiness. Nobody else will complete you in that way. Because in Colossians 2:9 or 10, it tells you that we are already complete. We are, because we have him. And we have to trust that.
Sister Fajay had brought up a movie that she watched recently called Old Fashioned, right? Old Fashioned. It's a dating movie. She said she enjoyed it and was thinking that that would be something that we could enjoy together as well. So I'm thinking of maybe we host a movie night here, unless somebody wants to give up their home. I got a little small apartment, y'all. So honestly, depending on the head count, I could probably fit about 15. But it's always cozier at somebody's home, I was thinking, if not Memorial Day weekend, maybe close, do a little barbecue and chill. I'm going to put it in the Discord, so if anybody wants to volunteer for their home. We can swing. I got a projector. It can fit my purse. Right, if you got a wall, my projector, I don't even have no screen, girl. Go right on the wall. It can fit. It can stream anything. Boom. We can solidify a date. Yeah, we got to get you now, because you probably got plans. She probably made plans yesterday. What y'all gonna be doing anyway? What, right? It's one of y'all. What we gonna be doing anyway? I'm gonna be at the pool. I ain't doing nothing. Be at the pool. Splish splash. That's it. The last weekend, I believe, in May. Oh, is it? Okay. Okay. Okay, it's the second to last. Okay. That I would like to. It did. It was. It was transformative. It for sure was. I took a lot from it. I think it was on Peacock when I looked it up. I don't mind like if we have to like rent it from somewhere. It might have been. It was like a few. It was a few different places when I looked it up where we could watch it. Peacock for sure. I gotta log in. Prime. It did. It did. And I'm not a. I don't I think that also tells you that person is see, I am a decision maker. So, what we doing? Oh, you don't know? That's an answer too. Like that's a decision. That's a decision. To not know is to decide to not know. I think that's fair. That's another thing I just wish, because we women feel like that, right? I wish, can we just make that a rule across the board? Like men, can we all get on line? Can we get on board this one? Like the generalization of that. It shouldn't be 6 months down the line and we still getting to know, kick it. You know, I think you know within a few months if you want to be with somebody. I think you can know within a few months if you would marry that person or not. Not it is. That speaks is loud. Silence is loud. Loud. In so many ways. Not saying anything to ignore. Like, mm-mm. Um, speak up.
know that was, I don't know, all of this in my journey as a single person is things that I have thought about, just not really. I just be thinking stuff. Nothing is organized. You know what I'm saying? So like to have like a structured discussions on stuff, it kind of helps me put things in perspective a little more.